Okay, hey everybody, Rob Kosberg here for our BSPU call today. Got a special call. We do this maybe not as frequently as we should, and that is for us to do a hot seat or a breakdown of somebody that's doing some cool things with their book, and in this particular case, Eileen with a challenge that she just launched. And so what we're going to be talking about today is kind of a hot seat. I want to give some help and advice and some guidance, and of course let Eileen share a little bit about what her challenge is. But we're going to talk about building out and optimizing your book challenge, and that may be everything from help with the funnel, help with filling the challenge, help with actually closing people in the challenge, pricing strategies, all those kinds of things. So there's a lot for us to share and to talk about. And so without a further ado, Eileen, welcome to the BSPU hot seat. It sounds so much worse than it is. We should have a better name for it than that, right? Like welcome to the BSPU love seat or something like that. I don't know. But we're going to give your funnel some love and talk about it. But maybe you could take a minute and just share about your expertise. I do have your book pulled up, so I'm going to go through all that. But by all means, if you want to share about that, tell us about you, about your expertise, and give me like the 1-minute version of what we're going to talk about today and your challenge.
Okay, so how fast can I talk?
No. I don't mean 1 minute for everything. So forgive me.
I'll be concise. I won't.
Metaphorically, right?
So I'm in the medical world. I've been a PT for about 26 years now, but I don't practice like most PTs, and I don't say that to slur the profession. However, my training has been very eclectic ever since I graduated. I was introduced to the world of manual therapy by somebody who lectured at the college, and so I was very interested in that. And so I hooked up with her after I graduated, and she quickly became a good friend and a mentor. And in about 5 years since I graduated, I took about, I don't know how many hundreds of hours of continuing education in manual therapy, which it wasn't required at that time. I'm licensed in New York. I'm also licensed in Ohio. And there was no requirement for continuing ed at that time. So that said, right out of the gate, my training was a little different than most. And then I've always sort of gravitated toward people who, I don't want to sound like I'm full of hubris or anything, but I can kind of tell when somebody's telling the truth or not. So I've always kind of gravitated toward the truth when it came to helping people to get better, helping people to eliminate pain. And I kind of can tell when somebody's selling snake oil. So, a lot of the training that I took was from people who weren't even in my profession because they were really, really good at what they did. And I kind of sum up my whole expertise with this one statement. I'm not all that brilliant. I'm just really gifted at finding brilliant people and learning what they know and then teaching it to other people. That's kind of my expertise. And so my biggest—
Be more specific though.
Pardon? A little more
specific.
Yeah. And
help people in pain or
fill
in the blanks.
Yes, exactly. So my biggest passion is to teach people how to fix themselves. And I was working through the internet using Zoom long before the world shut down. So so I've been able to teach people from all over the world how to eliminate pain by the things they have to address. And I have a 4-pronged approach, and that'll be done talking about me. What you put in your mouth makes the biggest impact on what happens in your world all over the place, not just chronic degenerative conditions, but also pain. It promotes inflammation and all kinds of things. Affects circulation and that kind of stuff. And then I teach people 3 different ways to fix themselves. One of them is my favorite. It's called, well, actually, they're all my favorite. But the one
Can I stop you?
Yes.
With your permission, I may stop you a number of times. So all of us are in love with what we do. And you should be, because you help a lot of people. But we're not going to spend a lot of time specifically on what you do as much as how I can help you to do it for more people.
Okay.
Is that okay? With permission?
Absolutely.
So please don't hate on me for doing that.
No, that's fine. I was done anyway. I have that 4-pronged approach. I teach people,
yeah. And thank you. I know where this can go with authors, because you guys are all experts and wonderful at your professions. And because of that, oftentimes you want to talk about it. And I understand you want to talk about the things that you love, but I'm here to help you to make more money. That's what my goal is in this conversation.
I love that too.
So tell me about, I love you're an action taker, and congratulations on the action you took. We got on a telephone because after your launch and the successful launch of your book, and congratulations on being a bestseller. I'll show everyone your book in just a minute. You just decided, and maybe it was even before your launch, but you got on with Bob, and Bob was so impressed with what you had done, where you just started to do a challenge and put a challenge together. And maybe you could tell us about that and tell us about what specific successes you've had with the challenge. You've now done 3. Did you finish your 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. So you pitched the 3rd one as well. So I want to tell us about each one of the challenges, and what the results were from those challenges, from the standpoint of the number of people you served, the number of people that became clients, the money, everything.
Okay. So I started my first challenge in August. So it was long before my book came out, but I had my target date for my book being published because of the conference I'm going to this week. So I knew it was going to be published at that time. It was do or die. So because of your challenge, yours was the first challenge I ever attended for BSP. And I was so impressed by everything. Obviously, I bought your package, right?
Yes.
And then I attended another challenge by my accountant, who actually is doing this really cool thing. He calls himself the Healthy Accountant, and he's creating this account for your life kind of training for entrepreneurs. And so I loved everything that I learned from him. So I bought what he was selling. So I thought, well, gosh, it worked twice on me. I should try this. And so I tried to figure out what I could do. I scheduled it before I even had a clue what I was going to do, because I knew if I scheduled it, I had to do it, right?
Love it.
I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't put it off. And so I scheduled it. And 2 days before it started, I figured out what I was going to teach. And then I
love that too, by the way. I love that.
And I had no clue what I was going to offer people at the end of it. I do have a Move Without Pain private club that I offer to people, which is a passive training online, very inexpensive. And I thought, well, at least I have that to point them to continue, right? And about day 7, the energy of the challenge was so incredible, even though it wasn't, my numbers were small. I'll tell you those in a moment, but the energy was just so amazing. And, the live teaching and the comments and the results, I was giving people objective measurements so they could actually see their progress and what was happening. And they were thrilled. Knee pain they'd had for years was getting better. People were just raving about stuff. So I was on cloud 9. So I'm like, okay, I've got to create something that continues with the live energy. So again, it was like day 7 or 8, I created it and I figured out all the PowerPoint and everything, and I made the offer at the end. So in my first challenge, it was in August. Now well, I shouldn't say only, because I'm very happy. I have an email recipient list of about 800 people, because I cleaned out all the deadwood. So those are actually 800 people that might pay attention to what I send. And so I had 12 people sign up for the challenge. And I had 10 people who were actively engaged. In other words, they actually showed up and they did the homework. And I also gave out prizes. And the prizes were the live classes I teach, membership in the private club, and my book. So I gave out about over $1,000 worth of prizes on day 10. And only to those people who did their homework. Yeah. And so I had 10
Sounds familiar.
Yeah. And there were 10 people that were active, and 5 of them signed up for my academy, which still is not launched. So these people paid for something that they can't even access yet, but they were happy to do it.
Right.
And then my second challenge.
What did they pay you?
$1,000.
Okay. So first challenge, $5,000 from 5 folks, and that's 12 people joining the challenge, 10 of them being engaged, and 5 actually paying you for something that hadn't even been built yet. $5,000, and there was no cost associated with the challenge. You didn't do
nothing but my time.
Your time. Okay, fantastic. Congratulations. $5,000 extra dollars for doing something you love and helping people. Okay, that's challenge 1. Love it. Challenge 2.
Challenge 2, that was in September, and I had 19 people show up for that one, to sign up for that one, I should say. 10 of them were active. One of them was already an Academy member. So we'd have to say 9 people were eligible.
Yep.
And only 2 signed up. And I was
Okay.
trying to think of what I did, I don't want to say wrong, but not as successfully as the first time. And I felt a little more awkward doing that offer, and I don't know why. I had kind of changed the numbers up a little bit, and we're going to go over those slides. But I'm not sure what happened. I think I sort of lost my confidence somehow. But I
Yep.
still got 2.
Yeah.
And then the one I just finished, I had 18 people sign up. 10 people were active. One of them is already a member, so it would be 9 people potential, and 4 of them signed up.
Awesome.
So
Fantastic.
and
Congratulations.
it still hasn't launched.
And it still hasn't launched. Well, I mean, look, you've made $11,000 from your challenge at zero cost whatsoever. You've done this in a period of 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, it was around mid-August or so when I started. Yeah,
So you're doing one a month, basically, at this
about
point.
every 6 weeks I planned on. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, I don't know, I'd love some feedback from some of you. There are 30 of us on right now. But I say kudos, congratulations, fantastic. The first thing that I always look for in listening to somebody explain this is this a viable thing? Like, do we really have something here that we can build on? And I don't think you need me to tell you that, but let me make it abundantly clear. You have just an absolute winner on your hands. You have something that you can scale 100 times larger than you've already done. And I'm not exaggerating that. Now it will take some effort and it'll take some expense, right? It doesn't mean you do it overnight, but you can scale 100 times what you've already done because you have an offer to a very, very large audience. You have an offer that clearly works. You're good at presenting it. And if anything, you probably are closing too high a percentage of people because your offer is too cheap. Cheap is not the right word. It's more valuable than the price point of which you're offering it. And that's why 50% of the people on, will take advantage of it. Now, I'm not saying that you
Sorry to
price
interrupt,
everybody.
but the reason it's so inexpensive right now is because it doesn't exist yet. So
Fair enough. Fair enough.
When it does exist, the price will go up.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But you're closing, again, such a high percentage of people, even with that handicap, it's still such a high percentage that I bet you could do even better. It speaks to how well you've done in presenting the material and really helping people. And obviously I can't speak to how well you presented it because I haven't seen that, but clearly you're a great presenter and clearly you're really helping people because 10 days is a long time. And I'm going to actually suggest you cut that down simply for your own mental health. But we can talk about that. Maybe, you're the Energizer Bunny and you don't need to do that. I know how exhausted I am after, 7, 8, 9, 10 days of doing the challenge.
But when you're addressing somebody in a physical sense, you kind of need enough time for change to happen.
Perhaps,
I kind of need time to prove myself, I guess is a better way of putting it.
Makes total sense. You can test though, and see if there's a way to do that faster and to get people to trust you. Because really what you're doing is you're getting them to trust you, whether they immediately see the result or not. In one sense, people on my challenge don't see the end result, right? They see the end result through the lens of other people having achieved that end result. And so they build up enough trust to take advantage of the opportunity that I'm giving with the bonuses and the offer and all of that. So that's really what you're trying to do, is not fix everything on the challenge, but build enough trust to where they'll take that step with you to where you can help them and complete what the goal is. But again, go back to the beginning. You have a great winner on your hands. You're obviously meant to do this kind of thing because you've done it now 3 times and it is a lot of work, and you did it without the benefit of like a lot of direct input and advice and coaching. And now, I mean, I know you've watched the various trainings that we've done, and you've watched the challenges, my challenge and your accountant's challenge. And I think you were right, even just from the standpoint of observation, like you bought. So if you do a good job, why won't other people buy? That is absolutely 100% true. And so you have a great winner on your hands. So why don't we do this? Let me share my screen, and let me share some of the things that we have so far from you. And I'm going to ask a number of questions and ask you to go through some things. So for everyone, this is Eileen's book, Pain Culprits, Surprising Truths Behind Pain, How to Uncover the Cause and What to Do About It. You can see she already has 24 reviews, even though it was just launched back on October 4th. So congratulations on that. It's done really, really well, and it continues to do well. I have your Facebook group. I'm going to go to that in a minute. You sent me 3 different websites. I wonder if, Eileen, I can get you to tell us about these websites, and how you use them at all in conjunction with the challenge specifically.
Well, my main website is where people sign up for the challenge.
That is this one?
No, this is this one here.
That's
so
this
if they go to the store, this is the private club. The one with the green background is the main website.
This one.
And this one right here.
Okay.
So if you click on the store, you'll see the 10-day challenge is there. It should be top left. So right there, Move Without Pain. I had to put the letter A in front of it so it showed up first.
Okay. And your challenge is $27.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, that's great.
So if you click on product details, it'll show you stuff. I think you just added it to the cart.
Whoops.
So you're gonna be in my next challenge, Rob.
Okay, so here are the product details.
Right.
So so let's do this. Let me go ahead and break out the trusty whiteboard that you guys know I love. Let's detail some of this for your challenge. So your first step to getting people involved in your challenge is what? You emailing your list?
Yes.
Give me all the details. Okay, so
yes.
email.
I use MailChimp for my list. I've been doing a monthly newsletter for over 6 years now. So
okay.
A lot of people love my newsletter. And so I've got that list of people. Whenever I attend anything or speak at anything, I always get people's emails. And, when I teach classes at the local community college, whatever, I get their emails. So
okay,
that's where all those came from.
What is your open rate on your email?
Somewhere between 35 and 40%.
That's fantastic. Awesome. And what was your open rate on the challenge email? The same?
I wish I could tell you that, but I wear way too many hats. And so.
Okay. So not sure about that.
Yeah,
okay.
I could check it right away, but yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me, let's stay here for just a second, because, we're happy with, at this point, we're happy with the, and we're going to break down the offer, but we're happy with the offer insofar as how it's converted, right? Mm-hmm. You had 10 engaged people, you sold 5. That's a 50% conversion rate. That's fantastic. You had 9 engaged people, you sold 2. You had 9 engaged people, you sold 4. So your conversion rate is 30, 40, 50%. That's fantastic. So what's the first thing we want to do? We want to get more people into the challenge. And if we're talking about the free way to do it, so let's talk about email. So it would be good to know what your open rate was for email, but let's talk, how many times did you email your list about the challenge before you actually start the challenge?
I first planned it so that it was announced in my newsletter, which goes out the first weekend of the month. So It went out the first weekend of August. And then probably did it again, maybe a week later, just to remind people. I've always been a little nervous about, when people want to be removed from your list because you're just emailing them too often. But I was able to learn from somebody who said, there's so many emails out there and so much noise. If you don't email them more often, they're not even going to know you exist. So,
yep.
So I did up my emails a little bit. So probably before the actual challenge started, they might have gotten 5 or 6 emails about it.
Were they sporadic? I mean, you said one email went out in the newsletter, one email went out a week later.
Right. And
When
then
did the
about
others
a week
go?
before the challenge started, and again, maybe 3 days before the challenge, the day before, and the day of.
Okay. All right. So that's better. You know,
And I got a lot of late signups, the last
okay.
minute signups. Yeah.
Here's a general statistic about email. And I don't know if this will change anything you're doing, but a general statistic about email is statistically, you should email your list at least once per week to keep them engaged. Once per month, engagement falls way, way off. Now, your engagement is still good. You have 40% of the people that get your email open it. However, I don't know how much you culled your email list down to this 800 number. You may have lost a lot of people on your email list because, you know, they just drifted away in the ether because you didn't email them enough. You need to
Well,
keep
I do send out a weekly email about the
Good.
private club and everything that people are missing if they're not a member.
Okay,
So that
excellent.
goes out
Good.
every week.
Okay, so you are emailing them
And
every
then
week.
when I
Fantastic.
when I teach classes online, and I always send out emails about anything I'm doing. So
Good. Okay, so you email 2 or 3 times before the actual challenge happened, which is fantastic. It sounds like your open rates are great. I would probably at some point want to ask the list what it was that that prevented them. Like, do a survey of your list with 40% open rate. I would survey the list and ask them what prevented them from joining the challenge. Because let's say that you emailed 800 and let's say that 30% opened, that's 240 people that are opening your emails the day of the challenge, the day before the challenge, 3 days before the challenge. You got, you know, hundreds of eyeballs on it, but best case scenario, only 12 joined. And then of course, the second time it was 19, the third time it was 18. I would just ask Liz, what was it that prevented you from joining the challenge? The other thing about that is going to be my guess. My guess is that many of them are going to say, and you could give them a number of different options, but many of them, I think, are ultimately going to say something having to do with the trust to pay even $27 for the challenge itself. You don't have a list of buyers, meaning that you don't have 800 people who have spent some kind of money with you. You have 800 people who gave you their email and are looking for information. So it's really, really hard, even after years, to build up trust. There's a significant like up-leveling of people to go from giving an email versus giving even 7, 8, 10, and certainly $27. I wonder if it would be worth a test, Eileen, to run the challenge much like I ran it. I ran a free challenge. You don't need the $27, right? I think you did that because you wanted them to have some skin in the game, and you wanted them to be
free,
engaged.
they don't show up.
Right. But I ran a challenge that was free. I gave a couple of different upsells to that challenge, and you know, most people showed up. Like, most people stayed engaged, and you know, certainly the people that already spent some money with me were more apt to spend more money with me. But truth be told, a high percentage of people that didn't take any of the upgrades, that were just free challengers, actually bought my full program because they built up trust over that period of time. I just wonder. Okay. Yeah. You're a great example of that then. So I just wonder, like, I have experienced this in my business ever since I started doing both live events, physical live events, and live events online. And I have noticed that, yes, maybe a higher percentage of the VIPs, people that give you $27 or $97, yes, maybe a higher percentage of them compared to all the rest of the people will become your full clients. But when you exclude all the rest of the people that didn't pay, you are actually excluding people that would have become clients. And I have recognized that in both physical live events as well as challenges. So, if, for example, 100 people would have joined your challenge from your list instead of 12 on the first challenge, and let's say that only half of those people were engaged, well, that's still 50 engaged people instead of 10, which creates more energy, right? Because more people are getting results. It's all around a more positive experience. So I would test that. I'm not saying 100% that you're going to experience better results, but I believe that you are. And that is what my experience has shown me in my own business. And you're an example of that with me, as you just shared yourself.
Right.
So
Well,
I
I
would
could do that for the December one, and I could say it's my gift to everybody. It's free.
I love that. So I would say number one thing to do is test the free versus paid, because what we learned from email is you have, 300 plus people looking at it, but only at best 19 people joining. And that's not a good ratio. You should have, of the 300 people looking at it, you should have a much higher percentage of those people joining your challenge. So that's number one. Number two, what else did you do? You did some social media stuff, did you not, regarding your challenge? Do you have any like numbers or figures on that?
Well, I have a business Facebook page that all I do is post my newsletter and, classes I'm teaching, events, that kind of thing. I don't really spend any time on there.
Okay.
Like I said, it's just me, and I wear a lot of hats, so I'm
Is
trying
that
to cover a lot of ground.
That's not
So
this.
This
That's
is
not,
the face. This is the private group for the
Yes.
actual challenge. Yeah.
Yes.
If you go
What is your
It's have
business page?
lifelong well-being.
Say it again.
Have lifelong well-being. And that one, like I said, I just post.
Good.
Yeah.
So here it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 156 people that follow this page.
Mm-hmm.
And so give me an example of one of your challenge posts.
It's basically, it goes right from MailChimp. So whenever the email goes out to everybody, I post it from MailChimp to my Facebook page. So they see exactly what the email people see.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's what this is. This is the MailChimp, and it just automatically posts to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm obviously going to give you more work to do. You know that already. I know you wear a lot of hats already, but I'm giving you that's what this is about, right? Giving you more stuff to do. So let me apologize ahead of time. So you don't have a lot of people in the group, but you're not getting much engagement in this group, one like. And my suggestion would be, with this group, is start going live in this group. Like, you're much better off doing a 1-minute live video that you share about the newsletter than you are just having MailChimp kind of mindlessly dump it in here.
Right.
Because
there's a live video in the MailChimp. I actually did a live video.
Then instead of, then post it in here. Then post it, just take the video and post it in here, rather than making people click on this link to go to it. Like, in other words, make it really, really simple and easy. Your cat wants to be involved. I love that.
Yeah. She doesn't like to be ignored.
My dog's right behind me.
She followed us home one day, and my husband says she fell into it. So
that's great. So I would, again, not to try to give you too much to do, but if you want to make this group work, you need engagement in the group, and engagement in the group is going to come from, you being live in the group in some way. Even if you just go live for 2 minutes once a week, just casually on your phone, just, that kind of thing. And you just share something. Maybe it's during the challenge, and a great thing happened during the challenge, and you go live and say, I just wanted to let you guys know our challenge is going phenomenally well right now. It's so exciting because such and such person has already been experiencing great results. Their knee pain is dissipating. And I was just so excited. I want to share that with you guys today. Hope you're doing great. If you're interested in the next challenge, I'll leave a link below. talk to you later. Let me know what your thoughts are, or hey, comment below with what areas of pain you're suffering with, something like that. Just a 1 minute little tip or update, something that will get them more engaged in this group. Okay.
Yeah. And that's easy to do because I mean, I can go right in there when the challenge closes for the day and just do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%. And that will warm up that group up a little bit to the idea of the challenge when the challenge actually does, when the next one comes around. And when the next one comes around, you obviously can't do that with just a MailChimp link. You've got to do that. Think of the ad that you responded to of mine, right? There's a lot of thought that goes into the copy of that ad. There's a lot of thought that goes into the actual, even though it looks like I'm casually walking my dog or I'm casually walking in front of my house or whatever, there's thought that went into putting that together. And in the same way, you have to put a little bit of thought. I mean, social media is an amazing tool that you can use to make a big, big impact in people's lives. And we're going to talk about using paid traffic in a little bit, but you have people that are paying attention to you right now. Just give them something that they can engage with. And that's going to be video much more than it's going to be a MailChimp link. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we have email, I want to get back to my list here. We have social, and I'm going to say on social, we need more video rather than just a link. Okay. We don't want just a link. We want more video with that. Is there anything that we need to see regarding the various sites that you sent me? I know you have.
As far as the challenge is concerned, this one I realized I was talking with somebody last night. I have to promote the challenge on the book website, which I haven't added yet. I'm going to add a tab for the challenge and make sure that that's there. And then this is the private club. This is how I help people. But the academy is going to be live and a lot more, live engagement. The private club is more like a passive thing, and the academy is going to be more live. Gotcha.
So let me say something really encouraging to you before I challenge something also.
Okay.
It is so hard to get people to give you money through the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that you got 12 people, then 19 people, then 18 people to give you money from just this page is amazing. That means that people really trust you and they really believe in you, because there's just not much on this page to make people want to really, like, people that don't know you to give you money. So the encouraging thing I said is, wow, people love you. Wow, people trust you. The thing that you're going to have to work on is this is just not enough to promote your challenge.
Well, there should be a picture there. I'm not sure why it's not showing up, but.
Well, I don't know either, but I'm just on the page, and
right.
the computer's working.
Which means it's probably happening to other people too.
I would think so.
Yeah.
Now look, I know I'm using cold traffic, right? I know that this is going to people that don't know me, but look at all that goes into, getting people to come to a free challenge, right? I wasn't even asking for $27. All of this, right? The various appearances, the people, the TV, the awards, the breakdown of the sessions, the testimonials, right? All of this stuff, the videos, all of this is done to just get people to come on board to a free challenge, right? Now, obviously I had the various upsells. Not to mention that, how much in prizes we actually did give away. As you experienced that. I mean, we gave away significant prizes just like you have. So I'm going to tell you, and I know you're working on your website, but you need something standalone for your challenge. You don't want them to have to click the description button and then go to this page and read through it to come to your challenge. You want a standalone site. it can be a simple WordPress site. It doesn't have to be as detailed as one of these ClickFunnels sites is. But the more you go to a market that doesn't know who you are and has never met you, the more sophisticated you're going to have to be to build trust quickly with those people. So when we run traffic to this page, we will get about, I think the last number was about 30 to 35% of the people that hit the page actually join the challenge. And so, and every number is diminishing. So let me give you some of those numbers, because, you know, paid traffic is where you're really going to be able to like 100x your results. But this is still applicable for you where you're at right now, right? Because every little thing that you improve when it comes to the current challenge you're doing just means that more people are going to be able to see you, and that means more people are going to be able to join with you, right? So this is what our challenge numbers, in essence, worked out to be. It was about 30 to 35% opt-in rate. And that means that, you know, if we spent $3, $5, $7 to get people to click the link, and I don't think it was that much, I think it was maybe $1 or $1.50 to click the link, about a third of the people that clicked it actually joined the challenge. Now, as you know, the challenge took place, so that's step one. The challenge actually, though, took place in a Facebook group. So unfortunately, only about 50% of the people that joined the challenge ever joined the Facebook group. So in the last challenge, I think I spent around $12,000. And from that $12,000, I had maybe somewhere in the range of 1,000, 13 to 1,500 people opt in. And then of that, only about 750 people or so joined the Facebook group, right? And then, of course, from there, it's how many people are actually engaged in the Facebook group. But ultimately, what are the numbers that we're looking at? The numbers that we're looking at ultimately is the amount that I'm spending. In this case, it was around $12,000, and the amount that I was earning. And in my case, the last challenge, it was upwards of $150,000. And that enables me to scale it and to reach more people, serve more people, help more people. And so these numbers, which, you know, every little bit that we can improve will ultimately just improve this bottom line. But if we can improve our opt-in page, and it's hard to, because the page is already pretty sophisticated, right? But if we could improve our opt-in page, then we would only do better with our offer. If we can improve the number of people that hit our Facebook group, then also we would do better. And then, of course, if we could ultimately improve our closing rate, then our numbers would be better as well. So what I'm sharing with you ultimately is, number one, even if you never do paid traffic, we've got to do better than this. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like there, you know, there are people that can build a simple WordPress site with a cool video, right? I mean, look, I'm wearing a t-shirt. This was during COVID, right? The streets are empty, you know, just with you talking. And it was me literally on my iPhone. And you don't need the deadline thing and all that stuff, but you want some information about who you are. You can use mine as a model, right? So a video, information about who you are and how you can help people, right? And then information about what they're going to learn during this challenge, right? The top 7 things they're going to discover, or however many, why the challenge is impacting everything from, you know, the interactive experience, the community, the prizes, all of those things. And literally you can have a WordPress site like this built for a very small amount of money, probably $1,000 or maybe even 1,000, 2,000 or something like that. And then great testimonials of people from the challenge. Like you can take screenshots of people that were in the last challenge. In other words, just use this as a model. Even if you're not going to use ClickFunnels or any of that stuff, use this as a model to take it off of your main page and instead have it live on its own. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Now, I have a quick question about
Yes.
using the Facebook posts. People's
Yes.
names are on there. Do you need to get their permission?
Yes, it helps. And I always tell people within the group, because I also ask for videos, as you know, I always tell people, if you don't want your information shared, or you don't want your video shared, or whatever, then just let me know and we'll remove it. And so I basically ask people, but otherwise what you can do if you haven't done that is just scratch out their, like, just use a little editing thing and scratch out their image and their name, and you don't ever have to share it. You can use the current, like, testimonials that you have right now, or you can just ask them and say, hey, would you mind if I shared this, and see what they say. Either way is fine, you know, for you to do there. So good question though. So the first step is we want more people to be engaged from the email and from social media. So we talked about how to do that. The second step is, once they go from email or social media, they have to go to a thing that they're going to be most excited about engaging with. And that's this, right? Right now, that's what this is. And you know, we can do a lot better. And you can use this as some type of example, right? With images and with video, and it won't cost you very much to create something like this. And maybe you have the skills to do it yourself, but you're probably wearing too many hats as it is. So take $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 from what you've already made and reinvest it. And I promise you, it will be money that will pay you back for months and years to come. So just reinvest some of that money. So that's the number two thing. Along with that number two thing is testing the free challenge rather than the paid challenge, because let's see if we can get more people onto your challenge itself. Okay. So then, and kind of last but not least, because, you know, what we're really doing here is this is a funnel, right? For lack of a better word, because funnel is so overused, we have at the top of the funnel the people that are coming in via social media, via email, etc. And then as the funnel goes down, you have people that then, you know, hit the page itself to decide whether to pay you $27 or not, right? And then from there, they go into the Facebook group itself. And that Facebook group is where they come out at the end of the funnel, you know, getting the help that they need and paying you for your services, your time, your help, right? So that's what the funnel is. So we try to fix the top of the funnel. We try to fix the middle of the funnel. And ultimately, we want to see if there's some things that we can fix at the bottom of the funnel as well, which is the offer, the pitch. So I want to spend a few minutes there. And I think you've done a really, really good job with this, which I really like. Answer me this first. What you sent me, Eileen, these 32 slides, is this the entire webinar, or is this just the pitch?
That's the pitch.
Great, great. So how long are you with them on Facebook every day? Like, how long is the challenge?
We start at noon Eastern and we finish at 1:30.
Okay,
sometimes
that's
we
great.
go a little over, but we're usually right pretty much on the money.
Love it, love it. So I'm going to walk through this really quick because it's 32 slides. So it's a lot to go through. How fast do you go through this, by the way?
Oh, probably takes me about 15, 20 minutes.
Man, you're good. You're way better than me. Okay. So
there's lots of pictures, right?
So I like what you've done here. So you start with a recap of everything they learned, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you did this, but a great thing to do with a recap, and you should always have some type of recap, is with your recap, you're basically telling them, here's all the things you need, right? You need this. You need to learn this. You need to do this. You need to learn this. You need to learn this. You need to learn this. A great pitch from a psychological standpoint is if you've given them 10 things that they need to do and or learn, if you can within your pitch basically show them that you are giving them all 10 of those things, you've just basically checked every box. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense what I'm sharing? Mm-hmm. Because you're basically telling them, look, you learned about degenerative disease risk and how to find your pain culprits, and which is fantastic. And if then you circle back around and you say, you know, you learned about it, now I'm going to show you how to fix it. You created a checkbox with this, and now you're checking it with your offer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really good. I love what you've done there. I just want to make sure that you kind of complete the thought, which is do the recap, show them what they've learned and also what they need, but then give them what they need in your offer. That's what you want to do within your offer, is give them what they need to achieve the success. Okay. So excited to learn more, overwhelmed by information. It's great. You know, you have, you know, obviously really good engaging slides. You've kept people engaged. So that's great. So you share with them about the MWP Academy. You talk about, you know, benefits and risk. And I assume this is kind of the slide of, if you don't go further, this is what your risk is.
No, actually that has to do with, on one of the days I talk about pain management.
Okay.
And and I teach, because a big part of what I do is informed medical decision making. And so a lot of people don't realize, you know, little things like the FDA never approved steroid injections for the spine because of the high risk of death and paralysis. Little things like that people aren't.
That's a small thing.
So yeah, so I go through on day 6. I actually go through the teaching for day 6 is pain management, risks and benefits. So
this is more of the recap. What you're doing here is more of
right,
you
you'll
recapping.
further understand, because obviously, you know,
Gotcha.
you can teach them in 10 days everything they need to know. So.
Gotcha. So you do a lot of recapping again, which is you start the recap here,
right,
and then you continue the recap all the way to where?
Right. So if you go down to slide, keep going, where I start with problem solved. So scroll down. Sorry, a few more.
No, it's good.
Keep going.
Is great. How to share 26 years of experience. Good.
Right. I wanted to let them know what they were getting access to. Right. It's not.
Right. Well, you're starting the pitch here. I want to know when you stop the recap and you start telling them what they can buy. Is that here?
Yeah. Go up above. Sorry. See the one with the injections in the hip, just above that one, above that one, before that one. So it would be 10, slide 10.
That's 10. This one.
That's 11 on my, I see that says 11. There we go. There's 10. Oh,
okay,
sorry,
that shows
9. One more.
Okay.
Number 9. Okay. So this one. So the biggest problems people have is they don't know what foods are actually right for them and what aren't when it comes to pain, especially. So this is where I'm telling them, you know, you're confused about all this stuff. Well, we're going to solve the problem. You're going to know what to do. You're going to know what not to do. Right.
And I assume you've been teaching them this all along.
Yeah, that was on day 2 and 4.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So this is continued recap, but you're letting them know we're going to solve this problem.
Right.
Great. And then you also let them know we're going to solve this problem too. Exercise confusion problem.
Right.
Good. And then pain resolution confusion. We're going to solve this. So you start showing them all the problems they're going to solve. They're going to solve. Good.
Right.
So the only thing I might add there is just make sure that they meet these things. Like, in other words, make sure that there is this sense of, you know, here are all the things that we've taught, and here are all the things that we're going to be providing and solving for you. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can do this all in just 10 days. What does that mean?
They did this, basically when I pitched this, I'm saying, you know, you received help from others, you felt your body change, you've seen your pain culprits change, you've seen your health scores improve, you've become an informed healthcare consumer, and you did all that in just 10 days. Imagine if you continued on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So, you know, I hate to be the one to, you know, because some of this stuff feels a little swarmy, but let's extrapolate one way or another. Mm-hmm. If someone comes to you and they've done this for 10 days and they started getting results, and then they don't go through things with you, and then eventually they just go back to their old habits, what's going to happen to them?
They're going to decline. They're not going to age well, that's for sure.
Okay. So they're going to decline, and decline means a number of bad things. You even talked about incontinence when we were talking the other day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so here's, and you know, people see this stuff and they feel like, oh, it's kind of salesy, but you got to do it. You have to extrapolate out for people the two different paths that they can be on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you told them that, hey, you've gotten all of these great results and all of these great things have happened. You then have to say, and here's the thing, you have two paths that you can go on right now, right? You can go on the path of, you know, you've made some progress and you're going to try to do this on your own. And here's what we find. Ultimately, you go back to your old habits. You didn't learn all of what you needed to, excuse me. And it leads to this result, right? Excuse me. You have to let them know that, like, that's an option. Or option number two is whatever your thing is called. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to show them both paths because you want them to get better, to continue. And, you know, look, we know that most people that don't take advantage of what you're trying to teach them and show them, most people are not going to do anything with it. They're going to go right back to the patterns that they were in before. You have to share that with people. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I focus on all the positive that they're going to gain, but I haven't really touched on what happens if they don't do it.
That's one path, and that's
Right.
a beautiful path. But you have to, and I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it, but I
Right.
would have one or two slides that say, look, you're going to have an option today. And this is what your option looks like.
Yeah.
And you can go down this path, and here's what we find on this path. Or you can go down this path, and here's what we find on this path.
And during the challenge, I do talk about that. I talk about there's no default mode. You can't just sit on the fence. You're either going to spend time working on aging well, or you're going to spend time in the waiting rooms paying copays and being miserable. There's
exactly
no in
right.
between. You've got to spend time somewhere. Where do you want to spend it? So
100%.
I do talk about that, but I don't mention it in the offer. So yeah.
Good. Good. So there's one more thing I want to share. I'm not going to go through all this because we've already been going almost an hour, and I want to answer some of the questions. I want to answer any questions that you have and kind of do a quick recap. So I love what you have with your offer. You build the value. You talk about in the offer. And by the way, are these testimonials?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are from the challenge.
They're from the challenge. Okay. Do you have testimonials outside the
challenge?
Wait,
I'm sorry. Those are from the private club.
Okay.
Those are from the private club. Mm-hmm.
You know, here's what I would do with those. I would ask people, can I use your name and your likeness? Because it's not good enough. Like I see that they're testimonials, but I would feel better about a testimonial if I saw a name associated with it. If I saw a picture associated with it, then I can kind of put myself in their position. Testimonials are really important, but you have to, you know, this is a very visual thing. You're showing them this, and you need to show them a picture. You need to show them like a name of a person. And maybe you just say, you know, Eileen K or Rob K, or right. You don't have to give away, you don't have to dox them, but you do need a, you know, you do want an image or something.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something that Eileen did really well, and I like, is something that you see me do, and something that you see marketers and people that understand when you're making an offer in a presentation like this, you need to show the value, you need to be expressive of the value, and you need to have a value that's significantly higher than what the ultimate price is that you're offering for the program. So Eileen breaks down, and I like how you broke things down. You know, you talked about the cost of an average therapy session, cost of an average workout trainer, cost of an average gym membership, and you added all of these things up, and you created a total value just in 1 year of what this would look like. I think that's fantastic to do. I like what you did. You then offer this program for $19.97, which is terrific. You then come back around and say, listen, because it's not built, you have a special price for challenge members only, $997, and you give a plan for that. Great job. You're building value with it. I like how you're doing that. probably the only thing, if I was being nitpicky, is I would just make sure that like you spend time on each one of these things. I would probably have a slide that just has cost of average therapy. And then the next slide is cost of average therapy and cost of average workout trainer. And then the next slide, all three of those things. In other words, like really establish the value here. Like if the value is real, and it is, then take the time to really establish the value with people. Don't feel like you need to rush through this part. You want people to know they are about to get something that's worth $8 or $9 or $10,000, $8,537 for only $997. But they need to believe that that is really the case, and that means you need to spend the time on this. And I think, by the way, these are like really low numbers, right? Like, can you really get a therapy session for $25?
The copay, if you've got insurance.
Well, that's if
Your
you
average
do. Right?
copay is 25. Sometimes it's as high as 50. The interesting part is your typical PT session only receives from the insurance company $52.50. And so if somebody's got a $45 copay, the insurance is paying $7.50 for their visit.
Well, that doesn't like that's your own personal hatred about insurance right there.
Well, I know from working in the clinics.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying is like that doesn't provide any value to your potential client. What your potential client needs to hear is that an average copay is $25, but it's as much as 50. So let's be really conservative and let's just say $25. So that's $1,300, even though it could be as much as double that amount. You see what I'm doing there? All I'm doing is I am proving the real value of this thing. You're taking an extra minute and you're proving the value of the thing. Do that. Take an extra minute and prove the value of the personal average workout trainer at $80 an hour, which, by the way, my last personal trainer was $80 for 30 minutes. So that's a low number. I paid him over 5 figures a year to work out with me. So, I mean, again, like take the time, and you can even use me as an example. My publisher, we were having a conversation about this, and he told me his trainer was more than $10,000 a year. And that's not a lie. That's the truth. And I worked out with him for years. It was well worth it. So, take the time to use examples and to really build this number. Like if this is your comparison number, you have to prove it. That's all that I'm saying, right? They already like you. They already trust you. They already want to buy. That's why they're listening. Just make sure that you spend the time to prove the value to them when they take advantage of it. Okay. So anyway, in general, Eileen, congratulations. I mean, what you've done is fantastic. It's amazing. You've made $11,000 in a tiny group of 20 members in just the past couple of months. That is like a home run offer that you have. You just have to dial in a couple of these things. The next step after you dial in your page, and I'm happy to look at it for you when you get it built out, all you want to do is just use this as a model. Use Publish, Promote, Profit as a model. It works. After you get it built out, I'm happy to take a look at it. But your next step is going to be to start spending a little bit of money and bringing in people that have never heard of you before and haven't been on your list. And that is where you're going to be able to scale this to 6 figures a month. You absolutely have an offer that you can scale to 6 figures a month. There's no question about it, and make a massive difference in people's lives. So let's